Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Yasir Qadi welcoming you to the Muslimmatters.org podcast. For more quality media, be sure to subscribe to our podcast. Wa jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum, Muslim Matters readers and listeners. We're here with Tina Foster, who is the founder and executive director of International Justice Network. Tina has been the lead spokesperson for Aafia Siddiqui's family, and today we're going to be talking to her about the case. Hello, Tina.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Okay. You are Aafia's official attorney. You have been appointed by her. You have been chosen by her. So can you tell me a little bit about your relationship with her and especially about your meetings with her? We all want to know how she is, how she's doing.
Yeah, sure. The family asked me to meet with Aafia, and I started meeting with her a couple of years ago, and I have met with her many times since then. She's in Carswell Prison in Texas, which is a women's medical facility on a military base in Fort Worth. And I can tell you that the conditions that she's in are really they're really quite sad. She's very isolated. She doesn't have any close friends or people in the prison that she trusts or that she can really communicate with, other than occasional family calls that she's able to contact, not consistently, but on occasion she is able to get through to her family. She really doesn't have contact with the outside world, and the trauma that she suffered from the 5 years that she was in prison, in secret prisons, and tortured, and while her children were threatened and had horrible, horrible things done to her, she really still suffers from very severe trauma that she suffered at that time. And so, it's a very scary place to be. She's not doing well in the sense that, physically, she doesn't have a relationship with the doctors there. She doesn't have, family visitation. And so when I go and see her, oftentimes she's just desperate and she doesn't know, why she's, we haven't been able to get any results for her and bring her home. And though we are working very hard on, I know people in Pakistan, millions of people have taken the streets. There's an international movement. Everyone seems to know who Aafia Siddiqui is. To her, she feels like a forgotten prisoner inside the prison. So, we tried to send her those messages, but I can't tell you enough how difficult every day is for her in prison. And every day that goes on, it's another day of torture, really, and a continuation of the abuse that she suffered. So we are very, very urgently trying to get her repatriated back to Pakistan, where at least she could have contact with her family and she could see her children again. She hasn't seen them in 10 years.
So what can Americans do for Aafia and the wider American community, anybody who believes in justice? What can we do for her?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question. I think that it's really important for people here in the United States and across the world to remember Aafia and to speak out. There are a number of activities that people can undertake, whether it's letter writing, whether it's donating to her campaign, whether it is participating in one of the many events that have been organized. I would encourage everybody who's interested in the case to visit freeaafia.com, which is the official website of her family, and that is based up here in the United States. And there's a number of different organizations that are involved, but that's the website the main website where you can see all of the different organizations that are involved and all of the different activities. I would really encourage people to visit the website and to sign up for the newsletter, which is really informative. There always seems to be things going on, and there's plenty of ways to get involved. So I would encourage people to do that. We need people here in the United States also to raise her issue and not to be scared, and to stand up for a sister who really has been wronged. It's a grave injustice, and I think it's all of our duties to not let her be forgotten. And she's here in the United States. She's imprisoned in the United States. She's been wronged by the U.S. government and the Pakistani government both. And I don't mean to exonerate the U.S. government at all. I mean, they are, 100% responsible as well. But we as Americans, if we do not speak out against that injustice and we do not take action, then we're complicit with our government. We have a freedom of expression here that many people throughout the world do not have, and we need to use it. And we need to say this is not being done on our behalf, and this is wrong.
If Aafia could say something to the people listening, what do you think she would say to them?
Well, I don't want to speak on her behalf because, I really wish that your listeners could see her for yourselves, because she really is a charismatic person. She really is somebody who warms your heart. She's extremely compassionate. I mean, when I meet with her, sometimes she's worried about me, and which I think is a really, it's really touching, and it's really wonderful to see that even despite all of the horrible things that have happened to her, and how she suffers, that she still has compassion for others, and I think she's always she just got a humanity about her, and I think that that humanity and that caring for others is probably what saved her life, and is probably what has gotten her through all of these horrible years. I hope that your listeners will get to hear directly from her. Before too much longer, we'll get to hear from her directly, because I couldn't really do it justice, but I can say that I feel that it's an honor and a privilege for me to be able to spend time with her.
Inshallah. May Allah make it easy for her, and bring her home as soon as possible. We heard there's a protest outside the Pakistani embassy in Washington, D.C. this Friday, March 8th. And there's also a series of protests. There will be one on March 30th outside the prison. So if people could join in that would, and have their voices heard.
I think that's really important, that silence is a killer in our community, and we really need to band together and say that we're not going to be a silent community. So I hope that people will take to heart and remember Aafia.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You've been listening to the Muslimmatters.org podcast. For more quality media, please visit the site at muslimmatters.org. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.